Welcome, friends. I'm Tanya Long, and this is Reset. Each week, we share conversations with thought leaders, innovators, and the dreamers and doers who are reshaping the future of work, technology, longevity, and purpose. So settle in and let's explore what happens when purpose meets possibility.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Reset with Tanya from a fabulous location in gorgeous San Diego. It actually beats the sun in Los Gatos, so I'm missing home, but this is beautiful. I am here at the Cisco Live User Conference. 25,000 people have joined me for this wonderful party celebrating technology and where we're headed. And so I thought while I was down here, I had to spend time with one of my dear friends for the last couple of years, Vladimirs Sazonovs. Okay, so I can edit that. Say it for me.
Vladimirs Sazonovs, that's very good.
I did it right. All right. Vladimir and I have been partnering together on several entrepreneurial things for the last couple of years, hitting the networking scene. We've spoken together at GTC. We spoke with a City of San Jose panel during the NVIDIA show, and now we're both in San Diego for the Cisco show. Vladimir is responsible for the Cisco Global Investment Fund. He's had a long history. Back in the early 2000s, he launched the Baltics for Cisco and then moved over to the States and has held several key finance and business roles. And now he is focused on the Global Investment Fund and the partnerships in that fund. So I think that with his history, opening countries and then bringing partners into the ecosystem to support Cisco's service of so many millions and millions of customers, he knows all about partnership and he knows a lot about resets, which is the framework for what we talk about here on this podcast. So Vladimirs, I am tickled to death to be here, to use my Southern term, to be here with you today. Welcome. Say a little about what you're doing here at the conference.
Yeah, first of all, thank you very much for having me. Thank you very much for the invitation. It's obviously the fabulous Cisco Live. And I've been with Cisco for 25 years, but Tony, you're pushing me into the new areas. I've done very little podcasts, so I'm excited to be with you on this.
And I probably didn't do your role justice with the investment fund with Cisco. Do you want to say something about the project, not specific projects, but what your group is responsible for?
Yeah, so I'm part of the Cisco Corporate Finance. We are a team called Global Infrastructure Funds. We build investment-backed partnerships. We use the private equity money to invest into the Cisco customers and partners so they can grow faster.
Okay.
And by growing faster, we can advance all our businesses together.
Yeah, good. So you don't have to build it all inside Cisco.
No.
Other places can build it, and then Cisco leverages that. So it's wonderful. And you guys have done that with hundreds of companies over the years.
Yes.
And you have a really nice program for success.
Yeah, Cisco is a technology company.
Yes.
We develop, innovate, create new products, new technologies. But then we have a partners who actually work with the customers, understanding, designing, deploying, and supporting the solutions. So it's always an ecosystem.
Excellent. So you opened the Baltics for Cisco back in the early 2000s. What was that like? What gave you the experience to set you up to do such an interesting task?
Yeah, so I've been first employee of Cisco in Latvia and the Baltics. So it was a very exciting role. And at the time it was like far out in the field, so to say, from the main ship. It was a very exciting role.
Yes.
And then it evolved to become a country manager running the management team for the Cisco in Latvia and the Baltic. And it's small countries, yeah. There's no other way around it. But it was very exciting. Being a country manager is possible for everything. For the big customer, for the small customers, for the large enterprises, for the government ideas, initiatives, and supporting people just call in with the questions, yeah.
Yep.
And Cisco at the time, in the early 2000s, was a quite a hip company. The networking internet was just picking up a pace after the 2000-year bubble. Companies kind of reset, okay, .com is not everything. Okay, what can we do with the networking? And back then it was a quite exciting way to look at this, yeah. The companies was looking and say, hey, now I can connect this my device with this data set. It's going to be transformational for me. It's very much kind of for that early 2000s.
Got it.
Reminded me of what's happening today with the high-performance computer and GPU and
Right.
AI. People look at what they can do with AI. Early 2000s reminded me of what's happening today with AI and the high-performance computing. People are looking at those technologies and think, oh my God, we can do such a things now with this technology around. And that was a feeling back in the early 2000s.
Yeah, because everything was so new and
Yeah.
just unthinkable.
Unconnected.
Unconnected, better.
Yeah, that was, look at, back, things was unconnected, yeah?
Okay.
It was, 7 years before iPhone. It was probably 5 years before Google.
Okay.
So you should remember, years before Google, yeah?
Yeah, it's hard to
And
think about life
many
before
people,
Google.
many people doesn't remember this time, but it was there.
absolutely.
It was alive before Google. There was a life when email was taking a while to send out. There was a time when you design your internet connection so you can send an email and this and that. There was advertisement for the telecom providers on the TV. Hey, now you can do your audio call without concern that somebody else doing something else in the house in your Wi-Fi, yeah? These things was early 2000s, yeah? So the companies back then was like, hey, what we can do. So that was back then, so it was very exciting.
Right. And Europe was already open for Cisco. You opened Latvia. Is that
Yeah, so the Cisco had a business obviously in US, headquartered in San Jose. We had business in Europe in larger countries. In Scandinavia, like Finland was kind of our headquarter-ish, if you wish, geographically. So we've been working very close with Finland and kind of started to build up a team in the Baltics.
So it seems to me that you would have, knowing you would have leveraged partnerships inside Cisco in Europe as you built up a best-in-class practice.
Yeah.
And is that it? Is that
On a multiple dimensions, yeah. So the country was small, right?
Yes.
So we have one person, then two.
Cisco was small?
No, the country is small.
The country. I thought you said the company.
The country, if you compare
Cisco would have been much smaller back then.
yeah, I mean, there was one person, then there was two, then there was like a
Yes.
3 and 5, etc.
Yes.
It's still, we cannot have all the people, all the expertise, all the talent in-house. So we
Right.
have to work with other people within Cisco to pull the people to travel to the country, to tell us how it's possible, one or another things. Educate, yeah? You need to work with the partners, yeah? We've been, we're a 2 people, 3 people company. You cannot do everything yourself. You have to build a partnership, yeah? Cisco back then and still now, with 95% of our business is done through the partners. Again, we're a technology company. Partners actually design, build, support, and operate, yeah? It's a substantial part of the business, yeah? I mean, Cisco does have its fair share of innovation and development and manufacturing of the products. Of course, it shows this very important piece, manufacturing of the products, the rest of supply chains. But then somebody brings it to the customer, work with the customer for the deployment. That's no. If you don't deploy, if you don't operate technology properly, it's,
Now, as I recall, you grew the business to 30% CAGR
Yeah.
during your time as a leader. What did you think was the secret to your success in building partnerships? Were there any principles that you found that maybe you even realized later were foundational for how you built partnerships?
and just going for the long term.
Oh,
Is a kind of standard,
a
yeah.
long-term vision.
Yeah, so I'm still prioritizing on a long-term results over transactional outcome.
Long-term.
Yeah, some battles need to be won, right? But it shouldn't forget about the outcome of the war. That's one. The second thing is probably being a little bit of a perfectionist. Yeah, I want to do something that I can be proud of.
Yeah.
Would it be even a small project? I want to be proud of how it was done.
Yes.
If it's a kind of difficult to do and looks ugly in the end, whatever, technical solution is not good, outcome is not good. Maybe customer asks something wrong. Yeah.
Yes.
I don't want to deliver wrong. Yeah. I don't want to after this done, after 5 years later, open the doors. Yeah, that was done ugly. Yeah. I'm like Steve Jobs on that. Yeah. Even if you don't see the part of the product, it needs to be good. And I had this experience in the past. I would like to do a good job. I'm happy now speaking to any customer in the past, yeah, and they know I did a good job. They won every deal? No. But what I won, I'm happy to speak about, yeah, was well done.
That's foundational for doing good business. I know you applied into partnerships. I totally appreciate that. Doing a good job, doing something that you're proud of, helping people in the world. All those things are, I think, what make businesses overall succeed. I think sometimes leaders lose sight of that.
Yeah.
Because they're just chasing the near-term win and thinking long-term is something that I think sometimes we're not encouraged to do. I find I've done a lot of work in Asia, and I find in the States we're always chasing the end of the quarter. And in Asia, they're thinking about like 100-year legacies with their businesses in Asia. And so the long-term thinking is something I think we should all try to get back to.
Yeah. Yeah, in Cisco, there is a press quarterly, annual outcome results, revenues done. We're the company. It needs to be delivering results, but not at any cost. Even today, Cisco has some certain principles of work. Yeah, like we rather, it's literally quote from our policies. Yeah, we rather kind of forgo the business if it conflicts with our ethics and policies. Yeah, so I'm projecting this to my own personal performance. Yeah, I'm rather like not do the deal if I don't feel comfortable about it. And then, yeah, so why would you fool somebody, yeah? If things doesn't look right, let somebody else burn there, yeah?
So your instincts come into play, right? Your intuition even, with how you build partnerships.
Character flaws, perfectionist.
Okay. I mean, I think everything is not in the numbers. Some of it is in connection, commitment, seeing how teams work together. And those things aren't empirical. You can't measure those things based on units or based on revenues. Those are based on chemistry.
Yeah, sometimes it's not about numbers, yeah. When you invite me to speak, you ask a bunch of questions from my long past. Okay, I start to kind of remembering things. So it was an interesting opportunity in 2003. Eurovision Song Contest. I don't know if that rings a bell for you. So there's like a big song contest based out of Europe.
Okay.
It's a 3-hour event.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Have you ever seen that?
No, I haven't.
So it's a 3-hour music contest. Seems like a 3-hour,
Okay.
but it's all like a 40 countries participating.
Wow.
It's a live broadcast. It's the
Okay.
largest non-sport
Right.
live broadcast event.
Yeah.
And why is it a 3-hour event? It's 2.5 days actual rehearsals and repetitions, translations, and about 2-week happening on site. It's happening every year in Europe, and in Latvia won this, so we hosted 2003.
Oh, okay.
And it's 4,000 people come in from different countries, the
Lots of
musicians and people,
Yes.
and 4,000 press people.
Yes. Okay.
And then like in about 4 or 5 months before the event to happen, we're looking in the newspapers, it looks like our country, it was 2003.
Yes.
Young democracy is not going to make it, just a havoc of the planning. So partner of ours, Udis Bertings, with another one, I just first called me and said, we're going to F this up. It's going to be embarrassing for the country. Let's sit together and try to make it happen. So myself, from a Cisco perspective, one of our companies, telecom provider, and one another system integrator, we pull our forces together, go to the government and say, hey, we can make it happen. And we made it happen. We made a telecommunications network. Cisco put there like a several million of equipment on the ground, but no cash, yeah, to make it happen, yeah. And it was a stretch, but it was very interesting, very interesting journey, yeah. There were quite a number of people from the local system integrator was working on the ground to deploy it all and operate it. Attack from the cyber threats already in 2003, and we made it excellent event, yeah, with quite a breakthrough of IP technologies in there. And that was not for money. It was like, hey, we need to make it happen for the country to look good on a global arena, yeah.
For our products to look good, for people to have a chance to shine.
And yeah, it's good, a very valuable experience, yeah. The next year, the NATO summit was coming to the Latvia, and they just said, hey, we've seen what you have done, do it again for us. So it's had a business implications, but it started, hey, it needs to be done. Yeah. Let's do it, whatever the cost.
Yeah. When you catalyze that many people from that many different dimensions, I think trust is a huge part of aligning people to a common goal. What do you think makes building trust one of your sweet spots? Because I think it is a sweet spot.
You get those challenging situations, you go together with the partners, you succeed, you build trust, yeah. You can rely on the person, you can rely on this company. Yeah, you can rely on this company, you can rely on these people. They deliver what they ask, what they say, what they will do, yeah. That's very important.
Simple. It's always that simple. Do they do what they say they will do?
Yeah.
And then you do it over and over with bigger, more important, more risky things because you know you can count on those people.
And not everybody do what they say they will do.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
So you opened a country for a telco. Back then, Cisco was more of a telecom focused company. And then what brought you to the States?
There was a journey. I cannot say I did everything I can. I wanted in Latvia, but it's kind of, Latvia was interesting. Again, it's a small country.
Yeah.
You can
Up in Latvia?
Yes.
Okay.
You can only do as much as you can do from a kind of a business size perspective. You never outshine the Germany.
Yeah.
You can outshine Germany, as an example, in excellence, in a kind of a structure for business. We build a beautiful business there.
Yes.
Balanced across the different segments, across the different type of businesses. So it was a very interesting journey. 39 quarters, yeah. But I know I wanted to get something else, kind of a bigger pond, if you wish.
Okay.
So I moved gradually to UK and then to US.
Okay. So I forgot that you had a hop to the UK first.
For 8 years.
For 8 years. That was not a hop, that was a stay. That was a chapter of your life.
Yes. It was
what did you do in the UK for Cisco?
I've been working with the telco providers across the larger Europe, larger region.
More partners.
Europe, Middle East, Africa,
Yes.
more partnerships, yeah. I was working with those providers to build up a business services, new service creation, creating community within Cisco people, how to work with this type of partners. They created what we call the service creation community, 200 something Cisco people who work with the telco partners all over the region. So we kind of created educational packs for them, how we approach it, how we qualify opportunities, what kind of business opportunities are there, how we can help partners to build solutions together with the Cisco products. Because Cisco products is as exciting as we are, it's not a complete solution. There is always some other bits and pieces of the ecosystem.
And look at the evolution you've seen in technology. There's a lot of technology built around communications between businesses. I started in the ACD world, actually workforce management, then ACDs, and that was way old technology.
What's ACD?
But it keeps, did you say but? It's ACD?
What ACD?
Aspect communications. They were the Cadillac of ACDs when the world was driving a lot of Honda Accords. So billion-dollar company, 2,000 employees, global account base. I opened India. You don't know this about me. I opened India and Dalian, China. I led India. I opened Dalian, China for Aspect. So that's my history, yeah. So I started in very much this environment long ago. And to see how technology has enabled big businesses, because big businesses have a lot of people on the phones. Big business, whether it's business being transacted by phone or just the interworkings of the company. And what we've seen through to today with AI and what we're able to do with artificial intelligence in the workplace. We haven't just sat still on phone lines, per se. We are moving into how we get insights on business based on the communications that occur.
I think in 2001 or 2002, John Chambers, then CEO at Cisco, famously said, voice will be free. I think at Cisco Live, at keynote, the voice will be free. And that's 2001. People
John was such a visionary.
People like, no way.
No way. Never.
No way. I know. It's not only voice now, video is free. And now I've seen the same energy at NVIDIA GTC early this year. When Jensen Huang showing what's possible. People are like, oh my God, no way. So I think the buzz of the energy, I think the same. It's an obviously the very next generation of technology.
It is moving so fast for us. I think our role is because we've seen a lot of these resets and changes in technology, our role is to help companies that are uncomfortable with it understand their path to get there, to advise and even comfort them that our technology can make it seamless for them to make that transition. I think that's part of building trust.
I think the speed of change right now is very fast. And it's across the whole kind of technology stack. We started with the hardware, what NVIDIA and other GPU producers are doing on a hardware level. The pace of developments there is mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing interesting, but it's also quite a challenge for those people who want to build on this. That's why people take into builders and funding and investors on this. How are you going to build on technology which is being refreshed every year? How are you going to build the technology stack on top of it or data centers? For the technology which evolves every 12 months, 18, have a different footprint power requirements. How you build applications layers on top of it, which now relies on technology which evolves every 18 months. And now you look at the enterprise customers, hey, exciting outcome for me. 6 months later, it's evolved 50% up with a different set of hardware and requirements. 6 months later, it's going to be 2x again. So it's a very dynamic, very dynamic environment.
And it involves people. Transformation involves people because the technology enables more things, but then workflows and processes change. And that, to me, the technology is easy. The change management and the people part is where you have to really pay close attention to. So as you've done a lot of transformation over the years, like for the last 30 years, you've done transformation. What do you think is changing about how transformation within technology works for the workforce?
I think
how we lead transformation. I phrased that poorly. How we lead transformation because it is so fast. What do you think is changing about how we enable companies to change?
I will quote John Chambers again.
Always.
You look at this with the customer in the middle. You listen to the customer, understand what the problem is, and kind of make a customer-driven innovation. So with all these massive, dramatic developments in AI, I mean, developing GPUs is mind-blowing. Building up a data centers is mind-blowing, but ultimately I think our focus should be, here is a customer. Would it be education, healthcare, research, or manufacturing? We should look at them, or finance. We should look at them and say, okay, so what do you do? What are you trying to solve?
That's right.
So
Fundamental question.
that's
The baseline.
That's the kind of ultimate outcome, right? Who is going to use that technology?
Yes.
How are they going to use it? Because people cannot make decisions right now, maybe because technology evolves so fast. Yeah, I don't know. Just fix certain moving parts, focus on something. Where is the core? Where is the context application? Go for this. Yeah, I think that's a complexity to manage. Yeah, there are so many moving parts. Just separate into the separate problems. Fix what you cannot control. Focus on something which is important for you. Solve for that. Yeah, find an outcome important for the customer, and then build everything else around it. Yeah, I think we talked about this before. Yeah, what core versus context for the enterprise customers, for the businesses. To decide what to do about all of this, they need to kind of take a step back, reassess what's possible.
Yep.
How does AI will impact them? Is it a cost saving? Is it a different process? It is automation or acceleration of what they do? So maybe acceleration of the revenue stream, or maybe some other impact for them. Understand that, yeah? And then kind of understand what do you want to focus on, what you don't really care about.
And for me, what you just said is why technology is more than just writing code. Technology is about understanding business, understanding how to learn businesses fast that you know nothing about, so that you can ask the right questions to help bring out from them where they want to go, so that we can help build them something that gets them there.
Yeah, but that's an ecosystem, yeah? Imagine a healthcare research company. They don't know about GPUs.
No,
they don't know about data centers. They don't know about power density per rack. They don't really know which whatever LLM management framework they need to worry about. They know the research thing, yeah? They have, not need to, can be, they have to imagine right now what these developments can bring in their work, what kind of data they can pull together, and what can be done. And then they say, okay, this is what we're going to focus on. And then they probably should focus on writing the software for that layer. Let's say somebody else deliver us AI platform. Somebody else deliver us this piece of middleware or software. Somebody else find us a place where to run the whole thing. We don't really worry. Whose servers are there, yeah? So I think that's the kind of company should focus on where the core business are. What differentiates them and what doesn't. What's the context?
Because the what doesn't part is important too.
Yeah.
Because so many companies I work with are trying to be everything to keep up with everybody else. And I encourage them to be the best thing at what differentiates you, because when you try to be everything else, you're going to become so diluted.
Yeah.
And you're just going to be a wannabe for everybody.
Let me make another name drop. Steve Jobs famously said, it's not only what you do is important, it's what you don't do. It's little bits, but also kind of sticks there, yeah. So what you don't do is very important. Again, it's the same thing, core versus context, yeah.
I love it. When you name drop all the way at the top, I love it. John Chambers, Steve Jobs. We got a little bit more time, so what's coming next? Your current role is you build investment-based partnerships for Cisco.
Yeah.
As you do that, part of the win-win for me is, let me try that again. Part of building trust for me is about creating win-win partnerships.
Yeah.
So what's your approach to creating win-win partnerships as you find all these different parts of the ecosystem that you bring in to partner with Cisco? How do you create win-win partnerships?
Yeah, so again, I'm looking for the long term. I'm lucky to be in Cisco for a long period of time, maybe for many years ahead.
Yeah.
And I'm lucky to look at being able to look at the long term. I'm understanding Cisco doesn't do the whole thing. I'm lucky not to be necessarily to sell products right away. So I'm saying, hey, here's the outcome our customers looking for. This outcome consists of a Cisco technology, non-Cisco technology, partners who integrate it all together, software application providers possibly. Now in the AI space, data center providers, maybe even power providers, So it's like the whole ecosystem, and each of these companies exist. But putting them together, not an easy task. Putting them together at the same table, putting them together into the single conversation for the customer outcome is a power.
Yes.
And there are new business models may show up. Let's say speak about AI data centers. There are NeoCloud providers who build the infrastructure
now,
and
what
operate.
does NeoCloud mean? For those who are listening, For those who are listening, welcome. For those who are listening who don't understand the term NeoCloud.
It's like a new cloud providers.
Okay.
We almost
Very good.
hyperscalers.
Very good.
AWS, Google, need those type of guys.
Yes.
There is a new providers in this world. Yeah.
Okay.
This smaller startups. Some of them is 1 year old. Some of them is 5 year old.
That you-
And you're featured twice in this already.
See, this is the beauty and the dynamic love at Cisco Live as we bring everybody in the audience into our little stage up here on the second floor at the Hitachi booth. This is fantastic. I love it. All right. So you were talking about win-win partnerships and NeoCloud.
Yeah, so the NeoCloud is the new cloud providers.
Okay.
New cloud providers which see the opportunity to serve the enterprise customers
Yes,
and business
in a
customers.
different way.
Yeah, with a custom built and designed
Yes.
solutions. They differentiate themselves from the hyperscalers.
Yep.
With a custom design, what we at Cisco call managed private cloud deployments. Work with the customers, understand what customer needs, design of the hardware, design of the software stack, locations to their networks and other data sources,
Yep.
privacy and security consideration, build this and operate it for them. Again, core versus context. When enterprise customers do not want to own and operate, this is when NeoCloud provider steps in and do it for them.
Yeah.
So that was NeoCloud. So I was saying is that we work with some of these customers, and they obviously look at the most economic and efficient way to
Yes.
deploy technology
Yes.
and operate it with a variable customer
Yeah.
demand. And now, for example, we can see, we work with data center builders who can make their cost of technology, cost of a data center, aligned with the demand of data center.
Okay.
Therefore, maybe participating in the revenue sharing of a cloud provider. It's on one hand, it's good for the cloud provider.
Yep.
They don't have a fixed cost. The cost becomes variable. It's also good for the data center provider. They participate not
Yep.
only in the downside, but also in the upside of a cloud provider. It makes the whole system a little bit more efficient. And we can do something which was not possible before.
Yeah.
With the help of funding, a little bit more adventurous investors, and with the parts can deliver that.
Good. Getting ready to come to Cisco Live, I did a little research on Cisco, and as I should, and for this conversation, as I should, and I saw a lot of verbiage in Cisco's public-facing leadership about helping to augment efficiency with the term human flourishing. Are you hearing that as an
That's
employee?
Cisco term, yeah.
It's all over the Cisco thought leadership printed work about enabling, and to me it's about enabling human achievement, human potential. They use the word flourishing, which I think is a little flowery, but still I think the intention is fantastic. This technology is not for the sake of technology. It's for the sake of advancing mankind. And the partnerships around that's super important because you're able to extend the value of what your teams do into verticals that you wouldn't elect to go into, other than you have the partnerships that enable that.
Yeah, it's still a kind of focus on the customer, focus on the outcomes. Yeah, we deliver as a Cisco technology company. We deliver technology stack which sits inside data center, multiple data centers.
Yeah.
We build on my earlier example of a healthcare provider.
Oh,
healthcare,
yep. Yes.
or healthcare or a research company. We can build a data center technology for them, which would some cloud provider operate, in which this research company will put their data, application, and because of the power of this high performance compute data center, they will research faster.
Yep.
They will find new drugs faster. They will create new cures faster, and they will kind of reduce the mortality of some diseases.
Okay.
Yeah? Can have our servers influencing the outcome? It's not a direct line.
Yeah.
But we should not forget about that. So
the infrastructure cannot be forgotten.
yeah, so when we speak about, hey, faster servers, yeah, and then back to the Jensen Huang discussions, yeah, he presents a faster GPU, yeah?
Yeah.
You will never see the GPU when you think about new drugs.
Yep.
But this is what drives it. The innovations in the cancer research and all that is powered by the high performance compute. And NVIDIA invents, puts into the Cisco servers, wrap up in the Cisco networking and security, make sure it's there, with the financing partners who actually fund the whole thing going.
Absolutely.
With the cloud providers like Mass Compute, actually, with the financing partners who actually fund the whole thing going.
Absolutely.
With the cloud providers like Mass Compute, building, operating for somebody else,
Yes.
and then the research company does their research. So it's a long cycle.
Yeah.
But you should not lose sight of the impact it is. And because for the research company, they're already there. But in many developing countries, it's not this. What's possible. So that's why the thought leadership of what's possible is very important.
Yes, it is.
What's possible with the new technologies? What's possible if you connect and connect? What's possible if you will throw high performance problem, which before was unresolved.
Yes, and I think our opportunity is to help people see that possibility and not let technology be a barrier. We can simplify technology where they don't have to worry about the type of GPU or the speed of the GPU. We can figure out with them what their goal is, what those outcomes are, and they don't have to worry about technology. They need to be domain experts at what they're solving for the world. And that is, to me, that helps mankind flourish because we'll handle the back end tech stacks. They need to be the best at whatever healthcare app they're creating or whatever productivity process app they're enabling. And I think it's a tremendous opportunity for us to enable so many people, because you and I are always on the partnerships people end of helping people see what's possible. And I just think that's a very exciting space right now with all that's happening with AI. Now, all that's happening with AI, you posted a week or two about a big buildup in Dubai for the 1 gigawatt power. Five gigawatt. Okay, for those of you who are not data and data center people on this call, 5 gigawatts is unheard of for a data center. Do you have a comparison?
It's a little bit more than Latvia can choose for a year.
Okay, so more power consumption than the country of Latvia consumes in a year just to power the data center for the technology that will come through this particular installation in Dubai. So what do you think? That is a project of incomprehensible scale for me. Bringing partnerships together for those projects. What do you think is the secret sauce to helping all the teams that have to align on something so enormous, not done before? What do you think is important for those partnerships to be successful at that scale?
And I'm not a Cisco speaker in that specific opportunity. Let me share my point of view on this.
But you've got perspective of 30 years.
Yeah, let me share my point of view on
Yes.
this. Our district, the Gulf states, has an enormous opportunity to invest funds into the new evolving AI.
Yes.
And they do it very boldly.
Yes, I agree.
5 gigawatt data center deployment, or I think Saudi giving everybody access to ChatGPT.
Yes.
That 5% population defense easy. Access to everybody is a transformation.
Yes.
But the opportunity is not only there. Opportunity is everywhere else. And then just last week there was a news in I think Economist article highlighting that working hours in Europe is all over the place.
Okay.
Germany works, I think, 1,300 working hours a year.
Oh, wow. Okay.
US 1,700 hours.
Yeah.
And Greece 1,800 hours.
Okay.
Yet productivity between US and Germany is very similar. Productivity in the United States. While they work longer,
Yes.
half
Yes.
productive.
Yes.
Germans work less than US.
Okay.
But a lot of product for this.
Okay.
If you think about from the growth, if Germans work more, they will achieve significantly better results. But if you increase the Greek productivity by 25%, this will be mind-blowing the lot.
Okay.
So just like a small example, enabling productivity will have impact on the life of the countries outside of Gulf.
Yeah.
And the Gulf is lucky. They have funding.
Yes. Okay.
And they all. Many other countries does not have a limited funding.
Okay.
And the private capital can step in.
Okay.
And this is where we are now focusing a lot, exploring what we can do with the sovereign funds.
Okay.
Sometimes government steps in and provides some baseline funding connections, but very often private capital is in. Seeing what's possible, it needs to be done by the governments and by the enterprise companies. Private capital can step in and help fund initiatives. Build up the data centers, build up an infrastructure, together with the cloud providers like Mastercard, actually deploy and
Okay. When are they bringing that data center online? Have they projected a timeline? Okay.
I don't just starting.
It did just start. Everybody in this industry is talking about I love that you use the word bold, because it is a bold thing. I think we'll look back in 5 years and we'll just see it as the first. It won't be bold anymore, because that's the scale that we'll need to build at for the future. It's just the first. So I love it.
It's like first computers, IBM said, you can 5 of them in the world. It's not.
And now it's common.
So it's the same thing.
I love it. So in your LinkedIn profile, you emphasize structured decision making and challenging the status quo. And I think those things are kind of opposite because lots of times when you challenge the status quo, you're having to change the structure. How do you apply those two competing philosophies when you're helping enable large transformations like you're involved with?
I don't think they're competing.
Okay.
What I'm saying, they're changing the status quo. Essentially, I believe in change. With change.
I'm going to make a button with that. I believe in change. That's a great button.
If you don't, this have to have somebody else do it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
John Chambers was repeating this again and again.
Yes.
We are a big company as a Cisco.
Yeah.
But we're always looking at what's going on in the industry, what startups are doing.
Yes. Yes.
We are changing ourselves. And so I think change is important thing. If you don't change, if you don't look what's going on, what you're doing that you're making on, try to monetize every situation or business opportunity. If you didn't change yourself, you will get what so many companies did. So I'm making always for the change and challenging the status quo.
Yeah.
Turning every stone to see, am I in the right path?
Okay.
So every time, every day, what all we do is, hey, can we do it then? That's one.
Yeah.
Many things. So structured decision making, with problems with always AI data center build all it's probably multifaceted, a lot of moving pieces. Separating people, separate problems, even with many stakeholders, they have a competing thing. You can kind of put those things aside. Instead, what we're trying to solve for. What's important question, what's the sequence of gate to gate decision, strategic decision making.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it will never boil the ocean.
Yeah. This show is about resets, transformations, pivots. And Cisco has had a lot of pivots. You have had a lot of pivots. What do you think is the next big pivot as a generality for you and for Cisco? What do you think that looks like?
And for me personally, I did a couple of turns in my one company mini career journey.
Yes.
My motto was nothing ventured, nothing gained. And a couple of those moves was kind of a little risky.
I think they've worked out well.
Payout, a couple of them payout. And for the company, for the future, I'm not a Cisco supporters false person. But the value of the importance of networking and AI is being understood. Because again, if all this high performance computing is exciting, it doesn't sit in the air. It doesn't sit in somebody's cloud.
Yes.
It's somebody's, that's the cloud. It's somebody else's data center. The more compute capacity is there, the more data is processing, the more network it needs to be around.
Okay.
And I know we are big networking company.
Yes, of course.
We're still powering a lot
That's
of
foundational.
So the network gonna be there. People don't fully understand it. A lot of the AI today is driven by the startups
Yeah.
or the research. The application of that's amazing, but it's all kind of a newly built ideas with early networking build-outs.
Yes.
We believe Cisco there will be a lot of the enterprises getting into the AI applications.
Okay.
And they will look, how do they connect new AI applications to their existing data to make sure that security perimeter is under control, the data comply with the privacy and security expectations for a lot of networking. So I think from the networking opportunity perspective, the path is very open for us.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
There will be a lot of cases for Cisco again. Does it change for us? Yes. But network patterns slightly different. Application design is different. The way that the technology being consumed is different. With a lot of change for us,
Yes.
no doubts about it.
Multiple dimensions.
Yes.
Absolutely.
We need to execute well. All those within this changing environment. We did it before. We'll do it again.
I'm sure someone famous said that once too, right? I'm not sure who, but it sounds like it. And someone did. Vladimirs Sazonovs said that. Love it. Love it. I think I want to move to my favorite part of this podcast. I've done it like the last 3 or 4 episodes, but I do a lightning round of fast answer questions. They're not meant to go deep. They're just, and I looked at your list and some of these are kind of meaty. So feel free to take a minute or two on the ones that make sense for you. But it's just top of mind.
Okay.
What do you think? So lightning round for Vladimir's. What do you think is AI's biggest threat to humanity?
You just tapped it and made it.
In 30 seconds or less. I know. No, take the time you need. What do you think?
I think it would be less interested how it works. And today there's a lot of discussions in the black box, they overpowering us. They start to push back on their own shutdown.
Yeah.
So they can't think a few days ago. It's sophisticated.
Yeah, of course.
It's ultimately, it does what again to do.
That's worth repeating.
Yeah.
It's a tool. It does what we ask it to do.
Yes.
Yes.
It's amazing. It's certain things.
Yep.
Creating pictures, but it's very hard not in the handle.
Yeah, you're right.
It's amazing in writing poems
Mm-hmm.
in a style of whatever William Shakespeare.
Yes.
It's a very hard look. It may become amazing in whatever. Manage it lightning or something else, or heating or Catholic lights. But it's going to do what it's designed to do.
Right.
It's true.
Yes.
When people get panicking, it's scary what it can do. I don't think there is rationale for that.
I don't think they understand just how much it is what we make it.
Yes.
Yeah, agreed.
And until they put a weapon in its hand, we probably don't need to worry.
Yeah, yeah. The other side of the coin for the next question, because I asked you what is the biggest threat AI has on humanity. So what's the biggest opportunity AI has on humanity?
Think productivity. As simple as it sounds, it's probably more with the less. Do fasting.
Yep.
Than the same. You're saying, time you can do more. Think in our lives, in IT professional, AI helps us to do research, to the write-ups, the Googling faster, yeah? And it goes in more and more industries.
Yep.
Sometimes visibly, sometimes invisibly. Buses start to run better. Traffic lights work smarter. I think that productivity would be the thing.
Yeah.
Health companies will do that exactly, see? Better scheduling, better planning, something else.
So what's one get your magic wand. What is the one technology that you wish existed today?
Very large capacity batteries.
Larger batteries.
My phone dies very fast.
Oh, mine too, mine too.
It's so many applications from that. Cannot survive a day.
That's happening.
I can't
Better
survive-
batteries are
I can't
coming, I'm
survive
sure
on
of
a small
it.
screen and
You're
patchy connectivity, but batteries getting it. It's getting it everybody.
My answer to this, it used to be time travel, but I think there's a real complexity with time travel, with the social implications of redoing history. But I think, but I really want teleportation. Like Star Trek, beam me up, Scotty. If I could just wake up on Sunday morning and hit a button and land in San Diego immediately, if I could just teleport from here to Bangalore for a trip to see my teens, then I think that would be the technology I would want to see happen.
Their wish list is very simple.
If you want a battery, you want your cell
A
phone.
bigger battery.
I want to get to India without 25 hours of flight time. You want a better battery.
I mean,
You're-
you'll be surprised how much life will change. You will have a lot of things in the very powerful batteries.
You're right. Honestly, people probably would laugh at the battery answer because it's simple, but it's true. I'm appreciating batteries affect everything that's happening out on that floor behind us. And if
Even
we
at-
got
even-
better and
even-
more
even at
efficient.
home. I mean, there is a big motion right now.
Yeah.
Of the different home appliances having their own batteries.
Yeah.
So, right,
Oh, I
efficiency.
didn't know that. That's a trend.
Yeah.
I did not know that. Interesting. Okay. Okay. So what do you think is the most overrated AI application?
Overrated.
Overrated. If you don't have one, I'll just edit it out.
I think this image creation thing is kind of fancy, but I know. Anyway, it just looks fancy.
Did you say image?
Image creation.
I think it's just not performing yet like we want it to be, simple and effective at the same time. Okay, so you think that's overrated?
I think at this point of time, yeah.
Okay.
What was interesting is that I think in movie creation, getting into the interesting stage.
Yeah.
People start to create kind of movie issues.
Yes. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
getting used to
Yeah.
things.
There's a lot of company startups coming through in that personalization of movies. You put yourself into the script, your dog, your neighbor, and create these personalized storylines that become movies. There's a startup doing that. It's pretty crazy work. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, was an interesting story again. It last week in the news and different stones. And there was a Memorial Museum
Yes,
in
yes.
Europe. They've created a digital twin.
Oh, of someone who was presumably went through Auschwitz?
So the Auschwitz Museum created a digital twin of the Auschwitz concentration camp. Not
Yeah.
concentration.
Yeah. Yeah.
The reasons for that is that there was a lot of movie producers. They
Okay.
had to make a movies
Yes.
around events there.
Yes.
And they cannot accommodate them to full
Oh,
connection on
yeah.
location.
That makes sense to
A
me.
variety of emotional and logistical ones. So they have created a digital twin, scanning the facility and creating digital twin of the facility from outside and they build it up from
Yes.
inside. They did have it.
That's history preservation, enablement.
They will have that digital twin available for the filmmakers
Wow.
for the future generation of movies
Of stories to be told. Yeah.
To tell the stories, and sober stories at the end.
I love
It's
it.
an interesting term.
It is.
When you think about it, we have a digital twin of this and that, and maybe for business purposes. This is a different dimension.
Yeah.
Create a digital twin of the story, which is it's been immortalized in it. Being able to create a more new, not
Right.
new, but a more passionable and emotional narrative
Yes.
in the perpetuity.
Well-
That's always, I think, was a very interesting example
I love it.
of using AI and the future AI utilizing vanishing physical evidence.
And to enable and simplify the ability for people to get factual information in a very streamlined way. And it enables the creative process, which to me is still a very human process. There's so much dialogue about AI taking humans out of the loop, but I just think it makes humans more creative because we can get to the information we want to build the stories around it, to show different perspectives that we would never get to without those kinds of tools. So I love it. Very cool. I want a digital twin. I've been working on that. Have you got a digital twin yet?
No.
Okay.
I think technology is there, but
No, it's not. It's too complex. And it's one of those things that I'll put a bunch of hours into, and then Sam will come through with a new feature, and that'll make it like automated and push a button.
the idea is obviously very interesting. Imagine I have a kind of digital twin of
Yes,
myself.
yes,
Algorithm for leaves all my messages, all my emails.
absolutely.
access to
All my
data.
writings, all my LinkedIn work, my
Even more
books,
convenient
yes,
in it. All the
absolutely.
corporate data.
Oh, I know.
All my presentation documents, email, communication, and the kind of discussions we've had
Yeah.
before, meeting notes.
Yes,
That digital twin can see patterns across multiple customers.
yeah, yeah.
The theory can communicate with digital twins of my colleagues and have a bigger impact. Good idea, but how many security and communication charges this preserves?
Yeah, yeah,
Hey, sense. We have access to the code. We need to process all of that within the security perimeter.
yep,
Is that really effective with my digital twin? Is that access to my personal information and outcomes? The security and privacy concerning that is enormous.
yes,
And that's back to the enterprise adoption of AI technology. It's very interesting ideas. All the stuff that's created right now, you can look at it from there. But not all of them, maybe just very few of them, can actually work in enterprise environment to live within the software and the powers and data control parameters.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think it's going to be very interesting. For me, too, I can't help but think of our own personal ownership of that information, because you mentioned it from a corporate perspective, all of your writings, because you have 25 years at Cisco. But I think a lot of that is my personal work in the last 25 years. And I would want that to be portable, because in today's workforce, most people don't stay 25 years. They stay 25 months. But I would still want that knowledge of me, who I am, the profile of my data for history to be available. So I think portability with those kinds of digital twins is going to be important. It can't just be a corporate part of the tech stack for a company. I think it's going to be part of the tech stack for individuals for productivity. And that will get into some really interesting things. So,
Speaking about 25 years. So
yeah.
25 years ago when I just joined Cisco, in one of the events I met that big gentleman from IBM. His name is Oliver Pat, who was an IBM manager, lived and worked in the Baltics. And when he introduced me, he said, "Hi, I'm 20 years with IBM, and I'm 1 year or 2 years." Oh my God.
Yeah, oh my God. I know. Okay, keep going.
25 years later, I'm 25 years at Cisco. Oh my God.
Yeah,
I looked him up today on LinkedIn.
yeah.
47 years in IBM.
He's still there?
He's not anymore, but he was 47 or 48 years.
He did 47 years before.
Oh
Wow.
my God.
And I know we've gone through ebbs and flows of thinking that when people reach an advanced state of age and experience, they're no longer as valuable. I personally think we're coming into a time where wisdom and experience and the history that we have of failing, failures are important. So of failing and the things we figured out how to do that we inherently just intuitively know, I think in the future we're going to move so fast, that skill set is going to be super important. So maybe you'll hit 47 years. We'll see. We will sit down at this table in another 22 years.
He's left, what, 20, 45?
Yeah, 22 years, yeah. Oh my goodness. So it's right here, and I'll buy the cappuccino. All right, so a couple more. We got time for a couple more. Let me see. What's a better investment? Infrastructure or talent?
Well, they're different investments.
They are. You're not going to choose. It's either or. Sometimes you get both, but lots of times in my M&A.
Infrastructure without talent.
Yeah.
Talent without infrastructure, what is that? No, it's both.
Yeah. Okay, fine. I accept that. Here's an interesting one. What country do you think will surprise everyone when it comes to AI? Yeah, with your global view and outlook.
And the deal of this choices kind of focus. The U.S. today is ahead of the world. Silicon Valley specifically. China is going forward with a massive speed.
Quantum is going to be huge for China. Yeah.
Amount of those kind of obvious candidates for the leadership. The one who will surprise, there is very few choices here. So there is probably a couple, I would think.
Okay.
The one would be in India. It's an interesting candidate.
Okay.
So they have done some tremendous progress on a government network.
Yeah.
It's a very big nation.
Okay.
1.2 billion, and maybe mistaken.
Okay.
They have created digital identities for everyone. They have transformed the citizen interactions with the government.
Yes.
Ahead of many other much smaller states.
Yes. Okay.
Ahead of many other Europeans, they made the transformation of creating digital identity for citizens. That's a platform for everything else created in the government. We can create any other build off from the problem if you have a digital identity, authentication of the users.
Yeah.
So I think India may have a major breakthrough.
Okay.
They're less antagonistic and relate to the U.S. like China is more friendly relationship. They may actually go ahead. Their own political hassles.
We all do. Every organized country does.
From breakthrough perspective, they may break through.
Okay.
So I think that based on their ability to get organized, from the same perspective, I think some of the European countries may have a breakthrough. Skype is out of Sweden. From other companies, out of Germany.
Okay.
We made a breakthrough in certain countries. So there is a potential for the smaller European to have a breakthrough.
Yep.
DeepSeek is China, but it's a fairly small company, smaller funding. So there is opportunity for this.
Have you looked at Manus out of China?
No.
Okay, and we'll talk
my
about
point being, my point being that in AI space, you can break through on small base.
Yes.
Scarcity of resources, talent, practice of resources make push talent to do basics. So I think there is opportunity. Nothing can really beat the combination of innovation, talent, funding, here in the Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
But breakthroughs are possible everywhere.
I love that. Because I do love my Silicon Valley life and my network, and it's a bubble of an ecosystem. But to think and know that breakthroughs can happen anywhere because of the technology that we built a foundation for in our decades of doing this is something to be proud of. And you said in the beginning that you wanted to do work that you were proud of. And I think that you have a long history of that work.
Thank you.
So, So this has been so much fun. You speak a lot. We spoke at GTC, and then we both spoke at the AI Infra Summit at the Microsoft campus a month ago. If people wanted to follow you to see what your thoughts are as things evolve, how would they be able to watch what's going on with Vladimir?
You guess LinkedIn.
Yes, perfect. Okay. So I'll put that in the show notes. Vladimirs Sazonovs. Did I do that right? Okay. And we'll get that in the show notes. But I think for people to follow you and see what are you thinking about, what's top of mind for you, would be wonderful. As you
challenge me.
You're on the cutting edge of what we partner to build. And so I think it would be very wise for people to see what you're thinking. So good.
Thank you.
So Vladimirs Sazonovs and Tanya Long here, wrapping up Reset with Tanya at Cisco Live. There's a cappuccino machine about 12 feet below us calling my name for an afternoon coffee. It has been absolutely delightful to spend time.
From Cisco Live.
From Cisco Live, but it has been a wonderful conference. Good to see old friends.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today on Reset with Tanya.
Thanks for joining us on Reset. Remember, transformation is a journey, not a destination. So until next time, keep exploring what's possible. I'm Tanya Long, and this is Home. This is Reset.